Okay, I wanted to share with you an experience I had with poker. And my friends and I occasionally get together. I'm less of a regular player than they are. But I had this awesome experience where I got masterclass. I don't know if you're familiar with masterclass. Basically, they get a whole bunch of different experts and they run through, and there's at least two teachings there on poker. I went through this one by David Ivey. He must be really good and he had a lot of rewards and everything. But I began his course and rapidly found out one thing. That is that I have no idea what is actually going on in poker. From the very beginning, suddenly he's like, the key thing is not your cards, it's your position. I'm like, what? Surely it's the cards. He's like, no, it's your position on the table. I had no recognition at all that the position on the table was critical, that there was advantages in sitting in some seats and disadvantages in others. And the position on the table meant that the cards that were dealt could be played in different ways. Some would be possible from different positions and some wouldn't. What was even more interesting was he said, like, if you never bluff, if you never play a bluff hand, then your opponents will realize this and they will know that you never have a bluff hand. I was like, wow, that's powerful as well. And so being exposed as a bluff hand was not necessarily a negative in poker. It was like, oh no, he'll play bluffs. He'll play strategic bluffs. And therefore that opened up the number of hands. It kept the opponents on their toes. They couldn't just assume that there would never be a bluff. And this goes on and on and on, betting strategies. I mean, they are clearly speaking a language of poker that requires some skills. And what I found out is that I was miles behind. Miles and miles. No appreciation for what is actually going on. Now, this immediately brought up the experience of systems in business. You see, most people in business are managing their people rather than their systems. And this has some advantages. Early on, there's a lot of communication that can happen. There's a lot of alignment. But as you start to succeed and grow and scale your business, then what worked with a small team breaks down. It is very, very hard to work with 20 people and manage those people. Stuff just starts breaking. People aren't sure what has to be done. There's no optics on what's getting worked on. And this means that you end up paying twice as much, maybe 3 times as much. You end up having client problems, customer complaints, bad reviews on Google and Facebook as things get missed, let alone your missed leads and your missed opportunities to run a consistent sales process to track your leads. And then you are still stuck with another problem, which is you're putting out the fires. All of these problems that are going on, guess who they come to? They come to you. And you have to sort them out. You're the business owner. That falls on your shoulders as a responsibility. It also means that while someone is waiting to speak to you to sort out the problem or guide them through their problem, then they're not working. You're paying them to wait. You got 2 or 3 of these fires going on. You actually can't get any mental bandwidth to sort them out. And so your life may be only finishing once at 5 p.m., but then you pick up a second life. And that is where you get some time, some space to actually think through these issues like, whoa, how am I going to solve this? And so you may not be getting home until 9 or 10 or 11 p.m., stressed. And so perhaps you can't sleep. You end up taking sleeping pills or popping cannabis thingies, the gummies that make you go to sleep, drinking. Seen this before. It's like, whoa, what's going on? And they're like, oh yeah, business is great. I'm like, well, man, it doesn't look like it's great because it's costing you your body. I'm a doctor as well. And so I see it. I'm like, whoa, your liver functions are way through the roof. What are you doing? And they're like, oh no, just 2 or 3 beers. 2 or 3. I'm like, that is not 2 or 3 beers when your liver functions at 500. Man, that's like 8 to 12 on most nights. Are you sure you're telling me the truth when you say it's 2 or 3 beers? But that is a coping mechanism. It's a stress management issue because you're trying to manage people instead of managing the systems. This is also costing you your relationship with your wife, with your kids. You're putting your marriage at risk. And this is the funniest thing. Like, literally, if you don't get this sorted, then your wife gets pissed off with you, takes you to the lawyers, and they get a divorce. And guess what she gets? She gets like 70% of your business that you're so hard working for that you're sacrificing your relationship. Like, you've got to appreciate this is not the first time that this has happened. This is a well-worn story of the businessman entrepreneur that pushed too hard in business and sacrificed his wife and kids, ended up losing it all. So it's a choice. You can continue on like this, costing yourself in your body, costing yourself in your relationship with your partner and your kids, costing your stress levels, your productivity, your profits. Or you can go, you know what? There's got to be a better way. This is documented in a couple of books. This one's quite famous, E-Myth, Working the System by Sam Carpenter. You will see the transformation that happens for these guys. Business is chaotic and then business is working. Why? Because they got their systems on point, they got their processes on point, and suddenly they had systems that create results. What I want you to do is go over to systemio.dev, go through the training there so that you can discover how systems consistently create results. Consistent systems create consistent results. Go over to systemio.dev. Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. Look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's episode as we continue this journey into the power of systems to create results. See you then.